Hi and welcome to my first ever YouTube video. My name is Victoria and I work as an artist, and there are two main things that I do. The first is I work as a teacher, so I make things like this with my students, and I also make some artwork, mainly portraiture in graphite, like this. And then the second thing that I do is I also work as a live event painter. So mainly that's like weddings. That would either be a realistic painting of the couple that's getting married or quick figure drawings of the guests attending the wedding. And in this video, I kind of just want to record like different segments throughout my week because there are some fun things I'll be doing, like making the realistic painting of one of my couples. And I also have some fun reels that I have to edit. And I'm also reading a really good book, so it's going to be a very fun week, and tag along. So I had started off the work week with editing a reel of my own wedding painting, and the idea behind this reel was that I've created paintings for other people on their wedding day, but not for my husband and I, so this is how that reel turned out. Hey, I'm Victoria and I work as an artist. Over the years, I have painted multiple couples on their wedding day, all except, you guessed it, my husband and I. We got married a year and a half ago, so this is slightly overdue, but have no fear. Since you're watching this, the painting is done and took about 1 billion hours to complete. The brick building, the greenery, teeny tiny faces of my husband and I. This painting is huge and the details are so small. But now I invite you to the best part, the tape peeling ceremony, followed by some necessary framing, and here it is. Bye! My usual workday is quite atypical because on the weekdays when I tutor art, I start at like after school or work hours, which is around 4 p.m. and these would last until the late evening, depending on how many students I have that day. And then I offer event painting, which is mostly wedding painting, which typically happens on weekends. So that being said, each weekday until around the late afternoon, I have like a bit of flexibility regarding what I want to do. So whether that's like working on a painting, filming a video, or honestly just go see my family. In the afternoon, I make myself a little snack, and today it was a fruit bowl with the best coffee ever, and I really want to share this coffee recipe because it's so easy to make and so yummy. So what I do is I pour a little hot water over my instant coffee and a tiny bit of sea salt, and then I add maple syrup for sweetness, ice, milk, and cream. And you can also customize it depending on the season. So like in autumn, I added pumpkin spice, and around Christmas, it's cinnamon. It's so delicious. The book I'm reading here is called The Compound, and it's a dystopian novel about contestants living in a remote compound on a desert, and they are essentially competing to be the last person remaining in the compound. Also, the rules of this reality show are a little bit unethical because they have to complete challenges to receive basic necessities, and also these challenges are often designed to humiliate the contestants or to cause chaos. So it's drama-filled and interesting. So the rest of the Monday I had just spent tutoring, so I wasn't able to take that many clips in the evening, but I did document what I had for dinner here, which was these rice noodles in peanut sauce with chicken and vegetables. Okay, so what I'm focusing on today is doing the painting of the couple whose wedding I had worked at back in October. And they have requested a 9.5 by 12.5 inch painting. So the first thing that I do is I tape off basically each side of the drawing because I like having like a neat border. So I kind of eyeball this because it's small enough to get it pretty much exactly. And I try to go for about 1/2 centimeter. So I tape it down and then I can see through it, and I'm checking just to make sure it looks good. And if it doesn't, I can re-stick it. Okay, that looks fine. Nice and even. And then I fold each side. And then fold the bottom. Okay. And we have one final side remaining. Okay, and now that we have a perfectly taped piece of paper, we move on to the outlines, and then that's kind of it for the preparation. Also, update on my book. I really like it. I'm now on page 188, so a little bit past the middle point of the book. So on this day I didn't really take too many videos because Wednesdays are one of my biggest tutoring days. Most of my lessons today were focused on drawing facial feature studies in graphite because most of my students want to learn how to draw portraits with graphite. So we make our way through each facial feature in increasing difficulty, and then we finish off by doing a full face portrait. So that's how I spent my day. This is actually another day despite wearing the same clothes, but today I had mostly focused on the portrait and I made a lot of progress that day, and I will show you what it looks like at the end of the week. But yeah, that was my Friday. So it's Saturday morning, it's actually 11 a.m. now, and I had a very slow morning. I had breakfast, watched a movie, and I finished this book, which I rated it 4 stars. So now I will pick the next one that I want to read. So this goes back on its spot right here. Let me turn this on. So this house was from a Row Life kit. Very fun to build. I built this one maybe like over a year ago, and ever since I built it I really wanted another one. And also there is a small character that lives inside of this greenhouse. This is Plastush. I made this out of clay. And also these 2 penguins, I also made them myself out of felt. They were in like a felt kit, and this is the first felt project I ever made. One of my students actually named him Tilbert, and this one, Billy. So they live here on this bookshelf as well. I really want to make more felt crafts ever since I did these penguins, but I actually don't really have the equipment for it yet, but I will definitely be getting some and making some crafts. Okay, so this is the book I just read, and I'm gonna pick a book from one of these two bookshelves. I'm considering, so I read this one, I read this one I haven't read. I read this, I haven't read this. And I haven't read this one either, but I don't feel like reading it right now. This one I also haven't read. So I would consider one of these three. I haven't read a few books on this shelf, but I'm considering this one and this one. The ones that I'm leaning towards the most are Demon Copperhead and The Covenant of Water right now. So I'm gonna pick just one of these two. I'll get to the other ones later this year, I'm sure. Demon Copperhead, I have read like the first couple pages of this in the past. So it's the story of Demon Copperhead, and it's kind of like a modernized version of David Copperfield by Charles Dickens. So it follows a boy that was born into, oh, I forgot what state he was in, but he was born into a mom that struggles with drug addiction, and he's born in a trailer park, and it kind of follows his life and his struggles, and it's written from Demon's perspective, and he's like a very witty, honest writer, and it's very funny to read. And I think I'm honestly gonna go for this one. I'm like equally interested in both of these books, and I have a trip next week, and I know I likely won't be able to finish either of these books within a week, so I would rather carry a smaller book with me on the trip. I actually ended up finishing this book over the course of editing this video, and I gave it 4 stars, and the only thing missing from a 5-star was kind of my own doing, because I took a little long to read it, so I didn't build up enough interest in the book. I also prefer fiction that leads up to a climax, but this novel was more focused on Demon's life and his challenges, and I never knew what to look forward to in a story, so my rating really is based more on my preference rather than something objectively missing in the novel. But why am I focusing on the negative when this book was still so good? The writing was incredible, the depth to every character was so realistic, and it's a story that I will without a doubt remember. Later on this day, I had been editing a post of my art corner, and I really wanted to share here what supplies I use to create my work and how I store and organize them. So this Sunday was interesting because we had a snowstorm on this day that would last into Monday, and here in New Jersey we got 2 snowstorms within the month, and in my area we got around 2 feet of snow. Anyway, I started off this day with some morning tutoring, and later on my husband and I had gone to my mother-in-law's home to spend the storm with her, and also we were binging the love story series about JFK Jr. and Carolyn Bessette. As soon as I finished Demon Copperhead, I started reading Just Friends. This book was published by a popular YouTuber, Hayley Pham, who makes content about books, and her own novel had just come out a few weeks ago, and I've been following Hayley since before she even announced that she would be writing this book, so I was highly anticipating the release date. And overall, I would recommend it to readers who enjoy romance. The plot was fast-paced and sweet, and the romance was quite innocent. Anyway, this will be all. This was my first time filming a video for YouTube, so I would be very curious to know what you think. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time.